Okay, welcome to video 6. Today we're going to be talking about solving um, quadratic and linear systems, and it's just like solving systems like we've already done in the past. So recall when you have two or more equations, you have a system, and we've already done this with linear functions, having two lines graphed and solved algebraically. In this lesson, we will specifically be looking at a system made of a quadratic equation, which has a degree of 2, and a linear function with a degree of 1. So the solution to a system are always written as x comma y coordinates, and in the past they've been 1 point, but now that we're talking about quadratics, it can be more than 1. So determine the solutions to the systems graphed below. As we can see here, these are the 3 opportunities we have when we have quadratics and lines. They might not touch at all, they might touch in one place, or they might cross in 2 places. So those are the solutions, where they intersect. So in this first one, since they do not intersect at all, we're going to say that this one has no solutions. Because although they go on forever, this one is never going to cross the parabola. In this one, we have one point of intersection, and we can see from the graph that it's right 2, down 6. So my solution is 2, negative 6. And remember that since that's a point, we write it as x comma y in parentheses to indicate that it's a point. And in the next one, it crosses in 2 places, right here at negative 2, or negative 3, 0, and here at 5, 8. And again, those are written as points because they have x comma y coordinates as to where they cross. So remember, when we solve the systems, whether it's graphically or algebraically, we will always have these 3 opportunities. Either they'll cross in 1 place, 2 places, or not at all. Okay, so let's look at an example here. Solve a system of a quadratic and a linear function. So to solve a quadratic, we need to first graph it, which means I need to start with the axis of symmetry. Okay, so I have a lot of work here that I just wrote out, and we're going to go through it all. Axis of symmetry formula is the negative b over 2a, as we've already been using. Then I wrote down a and b. I didn't bother writing c. It is negative 3, but I don't need it because I'm not solving for the roots, so there's no real reason to write it down. But you can. It doesn't hurt. Then we have x equals negative 4 divided by 2 times negative 1, which is negative 4 divided by negative 2, which comes out to be 2. Now, what's the whole point of doing that? So that we know that this number needs to be put in the middle of our table. And then we need 3 numbers above and 3 numbers below. So count back 3 for 1, 0, negative 1, and up 3 for 3, 4, 5. That tells me that these are the x coordinates that I need to graph in order to see the U shape for this parabola. So then I'm going to go ahead to y equals, plug in negative x squared plus 4x minus 3, then hit second graph so I can look at the table and get these y values out of the calculator. And if we have done this correctly, we should see the repeating y values on either side of our turning point, which is where the axis of symmetry goes through. And I can see that here. It does go negative 8, negative 3, 0, 1, then back to 0, negative 3, negative 8. So now we could go ahead and plot those and connect with a smooth curve. So you can see, and you can probably make yours look a little bit nicer. It's kind of hard on the iPad, but I've plotted those nice points and then connected with a line. And then what we've already learned how to do a long time ago is to graph this x plus y equals 1. We have to put it in y equals. So I'm going to subtract the x from both sides. So when I do that, I get y equals negative x plus 1, which tells me that my slope is going to be negative 1 over 1, and my b value is 1. So I'm going to start by plotting that b value up 1, and then use my slope to continue to plot other points by going down 1, right 1. Okay, so again, you could probably do a little bit better than I did, but now I have the line and the quadratic plotted on there, but I'm missing one very key thing, which is a label on each. Since I'm plotting 2 things, I absolutely must have my labels. So I've got x plus y equals 1, and the y equals x squared plus 4x minus 3. So now I've done all this lovely work, but I still have not answered my question yet, which is to find the solution. So I have 2 points where they intersect, so I just need to write solutions and the coordinates for where they cross. And those are my answers. Now you can check in your graphing calculator by finding the intersection. So to do that, once you have your 2 equations in y equals, you're going to go to second trace so that we calculate, And then pick number 5, which is the intersection. Move the cursor to the wanted intersection point so that you're close to it, and then hit enter 3 times, and you can check your answer that way. Okay, we'll go over this more in class. Have a good night.